The lungs of the earth are going to be given back to it, which is all these trees and all of these flowers, and it's going to be a whole total different vibration.
The glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, and the box together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary. And I will make the place of my feet glorious. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no fella is come up against us.
Because the Lord is going to restore everything. You're going to have a total different vibration on the earth, a total different smell. You're not going to be walking down the street and smell shit and piss, and no foul odors or nothing like that, because the lungs of the earth are going to be given back to it, which is all these trees and all of these flowers, and it's going to be a whole total different vibration. You're going to see the aura and how things are going to change and how elevated things are going to be. Our senses are going to be heightened, Everything about us is going to be glorified.
The glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, and the box together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary. And I will make the place of my feet glorious. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice in thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no fella is come up against us. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Kakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessing salutation to the hopeful that got there pushing this word of truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful leg, the believers, the listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. All right. And I want to get into with this lesson on how Esau Edom has ran the earth into the ground. Esau Edom has ran the earth completely into the ground. And what people are realizing, all right, which beginning with the prophets, the Lord put the spirit on the prophets, to really expose, the wickedness of Esau Edom. For the longest, this devil, was looked at, as the hero of the earth. Okay. But when you go into the reality of it, it's the exact opposite. He's a problem of the earth. This man is the absolute problem of the planet Earth. Okay. Every conflict, every war. Okay. Even when you go to diseases. Okay. When you go into, the sickness, the pollution of food, all right, the pollution of people, the way people are is a result of this man's rulership. Okay. This man has created an extremely toxic environment, man. And that's why even in this society, you got to constantly detox, man. You got to detox, certain foods. You got to detox from, the internet. You got to detox from, you got to detox from everything, man. Just to sustain yourself. Okay, it shouldn't be this hard to sustain yourself in the planet Earth. All right, the Earth was meant, to be a paradise. All right, the Earth, was meant, okay, to bring health and life. You see, and the laws was the ways to manage the Earth. Okay, in which you will, because when you go into the scriptures, because the Earth was a paradise from the beginning. Okay, as a matter of fact, let's go here before we even get to Isaiah. Let's go here to Genesis. And we always get it, okay? But this is on Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, going to the beginning. It says, "And the Lord Yahweh Bashem Shai formed man of the dust of the ground, and the breath," it said, "and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul." Okay, and this is dealing with the first son of God, Adam. Okay, because you had people on the earth, okay, at this time you had, multitudes on the earth, okay, but of, the people that was in the earth, the Most High, all right, chose, all right, a man, all right, Adam, and breathed life, okay, unto Adam. You see, so the Heavenly Father breathed life into Adam, and what was that breath? Okay, what was that breath that was given to Adam? Because he was living, okay, but he was given breath, he was given the Holy Spirit, he was given understanding. Okay, let's go to there real quick. Let's go into that breath. What was Adam given in Genesis? Okay, because as the Lord put the Spirit on the Elohim to create everything in the beginning, everything was good. You go to Genesis, the first chapter. Okay, everything was good. We'll get it. But let's get this. Let's expound on the breath. Okay, so when you go into the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, what is this breath that was given to Adam? What are the qualities of, okay, the spirit, okay, that was given to Adam, okay? So let's go here. Oh boy. Oh man. Let's see. Salakia. So I guess it's just down. Try finding GNT. Salakia, man. This is crazy. So the whole server just down. Let's see. Let's see if it'll pull up here. Because I want that in that Wisdom of Solomon, because it expounds on that breath, that was breathed into Adam. Okay. Yeah, it's lucky for the hold up. But let's see if it give it to me. See what it's saying in GNT. GNT might give us some gems. So when you go into the Wisdom of Solomon, the 7th chapter, and we'll start around the 20. Okay, yep. Let's go here to the GNT. All right, so let's go to GNT, Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, verse 25. It says, she is a breath, all right, and this what was breathed into Adam. Okay, it says she, and then she is the wisdom. Okay, matter of fact, I started at 24. It said, wisdom moves more easily than motion itself. She is so pure that she penetrates everything. She is the breath of the Most High's power. Okay, so this what was breathed into Adam was wisdom of the Most High. Okay, a pure and radiant stream of glory from the Almighty Nothing that is defiled can ever steal its way, all right, into wisdom. She is a reflection of eternal light, a perfect mirror of the Most High's activity and goodness. So this is what was breathed, okay, into Adam. Okay, the wisdom, all right, from on high, the inspiration from on high. It says, even though wisdom acts alone, she can do anything. She makes everything new. Although she herself never changes from generation to generation, she enters to the souls of holy people and makes them, all right, the Most High's friends and prophets. Okay, so Adam was the first one, all right, the first son of God, which we know that was Yahweh Shai, to receive that breath. Okay, that pure influence from the Heavenly Father to what? To rule in righteousness, man. Okay, to maintain, all right, the paradise, okay, in the earth, man, to maintain life in the earth. Okay, so Adam was given his breath, all right, the wisdom of the Most High. Okay, when you go back to, all right, Genesis, he was given that breath, okay, to maintain what was already established. Okay, so you read Genesis 2:7 again. The Lord formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, the wisdom. All right, he gave Adam the manual. Okay, and man became a living soul because in Genesis, the first chapter, okay, when Yahweh Shai and Elohim was creating everything, okay, and that they was creating these things. All right, just to get an example, just get that word good. Genesis 1:18, it says, and the most, I started 17, said the Most High set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth and to rule over the day and over the night. All right, was the sun and the moon, and to divide the light from the darkness. And the Most High saw that it was good. Okay, so we know that the moon and the sun, that divides the time, the day from night. Okay, the moon governs, okay, the night, the sun governs the day. Okay, which the elements are illuminated. The night being the lesser illuminated elements, and the day being the greater. All right, illuminated elements, and the sun governs the day, and the moon governs the night. Okay, so it says, and the Elohim saw that it was good. So when you go into this word good, okay, and the Elohim saw, all right, that it was good. So when you go into this word good, the Hebrew was tawab. Okay, when you go into the word good, is it good, pleasant, agreeable, okay, pleasant, good, excellent, rich, valuable. You see, it said glad, happy, prosperous, of man, sensuous nation, good of understanding of man's intellectual nature. So like it said, good understanding of man's intellectual nature, good thing, welfare, prosperity, happiness. Okay, you see that? So when you go into the beginning, everything was already established. Okay, the earth was already agreeable. It was already a paradise laid out for man. Okay, and of man, the Lord tasked Adam, all right, to maintain paradise. It was already good. It was already excellent. It was already, higher in nature. High nature. It was already on a high frequency. It was already, prosperous. It just had to be managed. And this is what Adam, all right, when he listened to Eve, this is what he fell from. He fell from their responsibility, man. And it's been a down spiral ever since. Okay, so that's why when you go to Genesis 2:15, it says, and the Lord Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, all right, Lord power took the man and put him into the garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. Now you go into this word keep, Okay, because dress, goes into labor, which abide, which also goes into the duties of a priest. Okay, it says, and to keep it, which is to rule, the word Hebrew word shamar. Okay, the Hebrew word shamar, which is what? To keep guard, to observe, to give heed. Okay, it says to keep guard, to watch and ward, to protect, to save life. Okay, so Adam's rulership was to protect and save life. Okay, that was why he was given that breath, because this was after he was given the breath. Well, he was given an assignment. He wasn't given the breath, okay, just to have it, just to boast about being the wisest man in the earth. No, he was given that breath with a responsibility, man. And that's what we fell from, and this is what we're getting back to, man. You see, the Lord is making us understand the responsibility of rulership. Okay, especially in this captivity under Esau, Edom. Okay, who completely neglects the responsibility that comes with rulership, man. And he's just doing his own thing. Okay, and this man is a complete madman. All right, that's in the earth. Okay, so when you go here, it's the book of Isaiah 24:5. Now, fast forward to the rulership of Esau, Edom. Okay, so now we bring it up to speed. All right, with this nigga in power. Okay, he said the earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, and broken the everlasting covenant. Okay, because there's an order. All right, the law, statutes, and commandments, the manual to maintain the earth as a paradise, to forward life in the earth. When you go into the law, it's a very wise system. All right, the law is a very wise system of how the earth should run. When you tap into it. Okay, so the law is a wise system of how the planet Earth, all right, should be ran in righteousness, man. And it maintains life, it forwards life. Okay, from what you should eat, the order of man and woman, the order of family. Okay, the Most High being the only power. Okay, when you go into the law, man, dealing with when you go into civil laws, okay, certain punishments, certain people needed to get rid of. Okay, certain people, they need to leave Earth. They do certain things that done. All right, they require certain people. They need to leave Earth, man. Okay, adultery. You see, it regulates, family. It regulates, agriculture. Okay, it regulates, health. The land Sabbath, which preserve the nutrients of the earth. Okay, so forth and so on, man. The law just regulates everything. It regulates life, man. It deals with thieves, with stealing. Okay, men having altercations with one another. Okay, women staying in their place, and women, and everybody win. Men, women, and children win. Okay, under the way of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. Everyone loses under Esau. Everybody loses, man. Okay, these little cheap thrills, these little moments you get chasing, these little sensations, man, but you lose. It gets worse and worse. Every generation gets worse, chasing these little cheap thrills and these little moments and clout and this and that. But every generation gets extremely worse, man, and it's speeding up. Okay, and that's why the solution, verse 6 is that therefore have the curse devoured the earth. Okay, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore, the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left, man. It's to the point where the Lord got to nuke the earth, man. Okay, the earth has become so defiled and so wicked, where the Lord got to nuke America. And the Lord is going to cause great judgment to go forth in the earth. America going to be nuked. and turned it to a desert because it's the source of the defilement of the earth. You know, all the defilement of the planet Earth goes back to America, man, the whore. All right, which has had a very wicked influence in the earth, man. You know, so the America is going to be nuked, okay, and erased off the map, okay, and the heathen that remain after this great judgment are going into captivity, man. Okay, and they're going to be chastened and corrected, all right, and punished. And Esau is going to be punished and destroyed after 1,000 years, man. Okay, and now the judgment of the Lord makes sense. All right, the earth needs major correction. You see, that's the problem of the planet Earth. It needs major correction, man. Okay, and Esau has ran the planet Earth completely into the ground. Okay, and that's why the Lord is grooming up. All right, another rulership, man, another government. All right, and Yahushua, he's gonna come and establish that government, man. Okay, so let's play this video real quick. This was what inspired the lesson. Play this quick video. All right.
Truly, like, how did it get so bad in America? I just feel like every time I come on this app, there's just something new that you found out, that like ways that they've been killing us. Like, there's literally, like, is there anything safe for us to use in America? Like, I just feel like it's so overwhelming. Like, it's a joke. I really don't know how we got this far, but the fact that like literally everything from the moment we fucking wake up till we go to sleep, they're trying, like, the air, the water, the soil, the food, hygiene products, medicine, literally fucking everything, guys. Literally everything. Everything is fucked. From the water you wash your fucking hands with to the air you breathe. That's fucking insane. I don't know how, like, it got this fucking bad. How the fuck do we have a government still? How the fuck, what is the FDA good for? Why are we not, like, rioting in the streets? Why? They literally make money off of our fucking sickness. Like, and I don't mean to come on here and just sound like, you know, we all want to be happy, jolly, and just like watch funny videos all the time. But like, this is real fucking life, guy. Like, I'm just mind boggled. That I literally have to watch what vegetables to eat now because they're fucking killing our vegetables. Like, there's nothing. What's good to eat? What can we eat? What can we eat? You just got to learn how to be sustainable now. We just got to fucking learn how to grow our own food. Where do I get natural water from, though? Like, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, man. You know, and here it is. You know, people's number one concern, you know, is something silly. You know, it's always some new celebrity gossip. Okay, and your government is destroying you, man. Your government is at war with you, man. All out war with you, man, and all our people, especially Jake, care about is mostly celebrity gossip. Okay, sports. Okay, neighborhood gossip. Okay, and that's all our people, you know, are concerned with. You know, they might, you know, mention one or few things about certain events. If it's not trending on TikTok or social media, our people don't care about it. Okay, if you can't get instant clout, okay, if it ain't something silly, all right, if it ain't something, you know, sexual, our people don't care about it, man. You know, you see, but you Americans in general, man, your government is at complete war with you, man, and you don't do anything, man. You know, and that's why they keep just and that's why they just keep sticking it to you because they know you're not gonna do anything, man. And that's why they gotta do something drastic just to get you people roused up, man. They gonna have to do something drastic, man. Okay. Now, when you go into I just looked it up. Foods and medicines banned in other countries except America. It says several foods containing specific additives, artificial dyes, or growth hormones, as well as certain medications, are banned or strictly restricted in the European Union, Canada, and other nations due to health concerns, but remain legal in the United States. That alone, people should be going crazy. Like, what? You see? Read this again, man. Several foods containing specific additives, artificial dyes, or growth hormones, as well as certain medications, are banned or strictly restricted in the European Union, Canada, and other nations due to health concerns, but remain legal in the United States. Key examples includes, all right, foods with red 40 and yellow 5, potassium bromate, all right, whatever that is, RBST, dairy, uh, brominated vegetable oil, BVO. Okay, you go into the BVO. It says used in sodas like Mountain Dew and some sports drink to prevent separation. Banned in Europe and Japan because contains bromine, which can build up in the body and potentially cause nerve, skin, and memory problems, man. Okay. A flour says potassium bromate, a flour improver often found in U.S. bread, rolls, and flour products. It is classified as suspected, all right, carcinogen, and is banned in the EU, Canada, China, and Brazil. Artificial food dyes, red 40, yellow 5, and 6, coming in U.S. snacks, candies, and cereals, Skittles, Pop Tarts, Lucky Charms, banned or restricted in many European countries due to links to hyperactivity, allergies, and migraines in children, man, and so forth and so on, man. God damn. Just a list, nigga. You just keep scrolling. Okay? Just keep goddamn scrolling, man. All right. This is America, man. Okay, the coffee cream, like she said, everything. Okay, the elastic in the boxers lower your testosterone. Toothpaste, the fluoride in the water, so you wake up clogging up your pineal gland. Your boxers is lowering your testosterone. Okay, you see the plastic bottle lower your testosterone. It's like, God damn. You see, but this is America, man. Okay, so let's go here, man. And that's why this man is getting ready to get wiped out. The Lord just getting ready to wipe this nigga out, man. Okay, the earth has an Edomite problem. Okay, and all this nigga knows how to do is bring suffering to the earth, man. Okay, that's why you go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 14. Okay, Isaiah 14:4 said, "Thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how art the oppressor cease? The golden city cease, man." Because America, painted itself in this golden city. At one time it was called the land of opportunity. Okay, it was called the land of opportunity. But then when you really look at it, this was the land of death, man. There was a time when the free market, all right, enterprise capitalism, people were able to come, and make a make a living. The middle class was booming at the time, but that was short lived. That was short lived, and that was just a bait, to present to the rest of the world that this is how, you should be. Follow America. The elites intentionally did that, man. They allowed, a thriving middle class for a moment, okay, to present America as a model for these other nations to follow. And then what did they do? They started to infuse poison into the American culture and spread that throughout the earth, man, to poison the earth, man. But America gets it the worst. Okay, there's no one that gets it the worst in America. There's no government that don't give a damn like the American government. You know, all these governments are corrupt. You know, some, you know, more than others, some way more than others. Okay. But America, all right, is in the lane of his own, a league of his own, the way that America don't care about its citizens at all. Okay. Like not a little bit. Okay. It said that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how art the oppressor cease, the golden city cease. The Lord had broken the staff of the wicked and the scepters of the ruler. See, and it's gonna be Yahweh Shai that's gonna break the authority, okay, of these devils, man. Okay, he's gonna break the authorities, the authority of Esau Edom, man. Okay, this man has gone too far. You see, he's done too much, man. All right, no flesh will make it. You see, the earth will be uninhabitable. The earth will be unlivable under the devil. Food will be uneatable. The earth will be unlivable, and the air will be unbreathable if this nigga wants to keep going. Okay? It said, he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindered. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yeah, because this man ruled the earth with a continual stroke. He's always seeing what he can destroy next, what poison he can put out next. How can he sneak this in there? How can he sneak this in there? How can he, you know, what psyop can he do? What, you know, what enchantment can he put on? What type of music can he put out? What type of ritual can he show? What kind of, you know, it's just continual, man. How can I take more money from him and get more work out of him? Okay, just a continuous stroke of wickedness, man. It said the whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. So the whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing, and that's due to this devil getting ready to be put down, man. It said, yeah, the fir trees rejoice, and the cedars of Lebanon saying, since thou art laid down, no fella has come up against us, man, because he just destroys the earth, man. He deforests the earth for nothing. He removes, all right, you know, nature and lays down concrete all over the goddamn place, man. Okay, this man is very unnatural, man. Okay, this is a very synthetic and unnatural kingdom, man. You know, and it's fighting against the earth. You know, this nigga rulership, okay, he fights against the earth, man. Okay, and that's why the Lord finna send Yahweh Shai back and fight against him. Okay, so let's go here. This is Revelation 11 and 18. It says, and the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints, and to them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. Okay, so now we're in the time when the Lord is going to judge the nations, beginning with Esau, man. Okay, and he's going to give a reward, all right, to the 1/3, beginning with the prophets. Okay, and then the rest of the 1/3 men, women, and children that's going to be delivered, and he's going to destroy them which destroy the earth, man, which that's Esau, man. Okay, this man is going to be stripped from all authority, man, and put into a hardcore, rigorous captivity, man, and then he's going to be done away with, man. You know, so that's the point. Just wanted to get into that this morning. You know, so Lord will, you brothers. All right, and you sisters edified once again. Want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, and Kakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations to the hope for that. Shalom.